On today's show, Act 3 proves it's never too late to take the stage. Kyle Mawer of Grand Manan takes 100 icy plunges for a good cause. And St. Andrews celebrates local legend Debby Lord.
From your hometown local station, this is Good Day from the Bay with Vicki, Hogarth, and Jonathan Brittain.
Good Day from the Bay. I'm Jonathan Brittain.
And I'm Vicki Hogarth. On this show, we celebrate all things Southwest New Brunswick. And today, we're starting in St. John because Jonathan is moonlighting again, and this time it is not as our CHCO-TV bingo host.
Guilty as charged, Vicki. I've traded the studio lights for the stage lights. Same amount of drama, just more sequence.
Okay, well, if we hear you call out to be or not to be, it's going to be really hard to not bring out our bingo doppers.
Not to worry. I won't be doing any Shakespeare, just Broadway showstoppers. You should see me hit a high note and unlock 3 suppressed memories all at the same time.
So it's a lot like TV bingo then every Tuesday.
Exactly.
But for people who don't know this about you, stage is actually where it all began for you. This is kind of a full circle moment.
Pretty much. I got my start in high school theater productions at KBHS in Crispam. I then went on to perform with the KV Players, which is a community theater also in Crispam Sis that's been in operation for over 40 years. And from there, I went on to university trying to do a Bachelor of Science, which did not work out very well for me. So I switched over and I applied to and was luckily accepted to the National Theatre School of Canada and took their technical production program, which was amazing.
I do have to, like, for people at home who might not know this, that is one of the hardest schools in the whole country to get into. I know this from having a roommate a long time ago who went there, and I was just in awe of what a challenge it was. Like, how many people per year?
In my program, there was just 7. So when I got that acceptance letter, it was one of the biggest thrills of my life. Yeah, and it was a really amazing, intensive 2-year program with really incredible people, and one that, you know, still haunts me to this day in some ways, but it was fantastic. And from there, I went on to work as a stage manager and a lighting designer and a theater technician in both Montreal and Toronto. Then that's what I call my first career. Then kind of life happens, you get older, different, you know, you move on to different things.
COVID too, I think, was around the time you moved home.
Yes. So COVID happened, and then I decided to move back to New Brunswick for various reasons. I landed here in St. Andrews, and but luckily, friends of mine from my KV Player days have formed a company called Act 3 Productions. And the whole, one of the purposes is to give people like myself, who are over 50, the opportunity to collaborate and create theater, and not just be, you know, put in either the grandma or the grandfather role, for example, and just to be on stage again and have a lot of fun. And so this is their 5th season, and they're putting together a show called Encore, which is basically just a whole mix of great Broadway songs. Some are opening numbers from musicals, some are trios from musicals, and there'll be one finale number. And so when they told me about this, I said, oh, well, I'd love to do the lighting design. And they said, sure. But we also want you to sing in a couple numbers. I was like, what? So, which I have not done for 35 years. But I'm really happy that they did ask me. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, it was really a thrill to get to see you sing at rehearsal. I can't wait to. It's incredible, but what else did you expect? But I can't wait to see you on stage when this all happens and comes to life in costume.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, get ready to see some Broadway classics and cult favorites. There'll be 2 opera numbers, so intense you might make you cry, or at least reevaluate your life choices at intermission.
I feel like that's exactly what Broadway is supposed to do, is give you an existential crisis and then put it to music and choreography.
And sequence, always sequence.
Let's take a look behind the scenes at Encore and the cast and crew of Act 3 Productions to prove it's never too late to raise your voice.
5 years after starting out in a St. John living room, Act 3 Productions is taking the spotlight once again, this time with Encore, a high-energy mix of Broadway hits and iconic opera favorites.
With a cast of 26 and a live 4-piece band, Encore is the next chapter in a story that began with a simple goal, creating space for performers in what founder Joanne McDonald calls the third act of life.
I lived in Vancouver and Toronto for a number of years, and just as COVID was hitting, we had a house uptown, St. John, we moved home, like everybody did. And the first bubble that opened was, I think, July, and it was like 20 people you could have. And I hadn't seen my old theater friends for about 18 years at that point. And I just got the idea, I just wanted to have a reunion. So I found somebody's cell phone, and then somebody else had somebody else's cell phone, and so on. And I had about 15 people that I'd known for 20 years back in my living room. And we had this wonderful reunion, and after a couple of hours, somebody got on my piano, and somebody else got up to sing, which I wasn't expecting for some reason. And then somebody else did, and then somebody else did, and I thought my head was gonna explode. Like, these people were more talented than I remember when we were in our 20s. And when they left, my husband is not musical, but I said, okay, like, I have got to make sure that audiences see what I witnessed in my living room tonight, because everyone was 50 plus. So we ranged from probably 52 to 68 that night, and we would be, if we were cast in a show, probably relegated to the back, certainly probably not the front. And I just thought, what a shame that has to be. And that's the genesis of Act 3 Productions. And of course, even in my career, I've always been smart enough to get smarter people on projects than me. So I went to Dan and Rosie and Teresa and gave them my pitch. And they all said yes. And so now season 5.
What started in 2020 as a pandemic-era reconnection between Joanne and her old KV Players theater friends has grown into a vibrant company, drawing performers and audiences from across St. John and beyond.
Act 3's mission to showcase voices, both literally and metaphorically, that often go unheard in mainstream theater. It's a place for seasoned performers to return to the stage and for emerging talent of all ages to shine.
I still love to sing, and I'm in my 60s, but because I'm a mezzo, I think mezzos have a longer singing life, which is kind of nice. But I think the thing that I love about Act 3 Productions is that we're also on the other side of it. So I like helping other people get a chance to shine. So that's a big part of what we're doing, is giving people who might not always get a chance to shine, and people who have been shining for a long time and a chance to shine. So it's kind of fun to be on the other side. I'm doing a little bit in this show, but mostly I'm helping behind the scenes, which, yeah. But it's I think it's friendships too, and the experience of working with people, and I'm finding too, because we're working with people that are in their third act, and some younger people too, that everyone's really grounded, and you're not, everyone's pulling together. People also have lives, so we have to be careful to have our rehearsal schedules set in a way that people can have their family life and do whatever they need to do. But yeah, it's also the friendships, I think.
Act 3's first show, The Last Word, debuted at the 2021 Funday Fringe Festival and made it clear this group had something special. Since then, every season has added new energy, heart, and community.
Because jellicles are and jellicles do, jellicles do it.
Now in its 5th season, Act 3 isn't just a theater company, it's a movement, a reminder that artistry doesn't age out.
When you invite people to, when you kind of make it obvious that they don't have to be young, or they don't have to have experience, just come out and audition. And that has really helped give people the nerve to do it. And we found that the people that did audition were shocked when we said, oh yeah, we'd love to have you in our, they're like, you do? You really? Like, they couldn't believe it. And I thought, you just lose confidence, right, as you get older. So anyway, it's been wonderful getting to know them. And then we had some young ones that came out, and they're so talented, and we're really enjoying having fun with them. And so it's just been wonderful. And I think from the aspect of the audience, they're gonna have a real enjoyable evening. When they hear the talent in that room, I think they're going to be quite impressed.
Encore promises a dynamic evening of showstoppers, from classic show tunes to operatic powerhouses, performed by artists whose lived experience brings a deeper meaning to every note.
As you said, we started with an idea of maybe intros, first songs from theater shows, and then someone else said, what about trios? And so we thought, can we combine these two? And it just kept evolving and morphing over a couple of months. And so it's sort of a combination of those things now. So this show, Encore, it's a musical review, but there's a narrator threaded through it. I don't want to give too much away. I don't know if Joanne, I'll get in trouble with her. I'll let her speak to that. But there's a narrative through line. And so it's a chance for just people to fill this place. Well, the place, it's Kent Theatre, and it's a little bigger than this, but I think you're going to be blown away by the sound. And yeah, it's amazing. I think certain things come with age. Not all great things, but there is a cost to it as well. But you certainly settle into the joy of creating a lot more. To me, the more you stay engaged, the more we hear about aging in a healthy way. It's about staying engaged, being interested, and continuing to learn. And if theater can be part of that, absolutely use your voice. People can sing, people can act. We just went to see something at St. John Theatre Company last night, and yeah, there was one person in particular who's definitely an Act 3 material. So it's a joy and a reward.
The group rehearses all over the city, fueled by passion and a deep love for performance. Each show feels like a community celebration, complete with a welcoming crowd and, yes, even a cash bar.
At its heart, Act 3 is built on a simple truth. It's never too late to return to or discover the stage. Music connects us to our memories, to each other, and to purpose.
When we get together with our group and we start to put something together like this, everyone's so enormously talented. We look at each other all the time and say, this isn't normal. It's not normal to have over 40 years, some of these people, still in your life, still creative, still talented. You'll hear some singing tonight. It's going to blow you away. And Jeff and I constantly were saying, this isn't normal. So it's a real treat. I mean, you know, I still am working, and the people I work with don't know really that I have this side of my life that's been around for a long time, and it's kind of a nice little gift.
Encore runs June 10th to 12th at the Kent Theatre in St. John. Tickets are available online and at the door with the cash bar on site.
And if you think this is the final act, think again. For Act 3, this is just the beginning of their encore.
Such an inspiring experience. I can't wait to see the full show. You make me want to burst into song and just immediately pull a hamstring.
That's actually a prerequisite to join Act 3, so you've got potential.
All right, Mr. Showbiz, it's your time to take a quiz. It's not the Good Day from the Bay quiz. It's a special one I put together for you.
Okay.
This is a Broadway or bust quiz.
All right, I'm ready.
What was the first Broadway show you ever saw?
First show I ever saw on Broadway, it was called The Goodbye Girl, and which was based on a movie that I believe was in the 1970s. Anyway, it starred Martin Short and Bernadette Peters, who's one of my, but both of them just incredible talents. And we'd actually scalped the tickets, and I was convinced that Bernadette wasn't going to be there or something, but I'm sitting in the front row, the music starts, and she entered right in front of me and from the orchestra pit. It was just an incredible experience.
Wow, so jealous. Mine was Music Man, not terrible. Sean Patrick Leonard.
Oh, very good.
What was the first stage performance you ever starred in?
First show I ever had a starring role in. When I was in high school, I was always in the chorus, and then my first KB Players show was Little Shop of Horrors, and I got cast as a lead in that, and it was absolutely fantastic. Loved doing it.
Favorite musical of all time?
That is really tough because there's so many that I do love, But I'm going to have to go with Little Shop of Horrors just because it's such a fun show. I mean, people are still doing it all the time. Neptune just did it. You know, they've done it all over the place, and it's such a fun show.
And if you go to Encore, you will see Jonathan Brittain doing Skid Row.
Yeah, we're doing Skid Row from Little Shop of Horrors, so yeah.
What's the most underrated musical or show in your opinion?
Once I was in New York and I saw a show called Passion. It was written by the great Stephen Sondheim, but the show was widely panned and said to be one of his worst. But I was absolutely captivated. The singing was amazing. It was 2 hours of very intense singing with no intermission, but I loved every second of it. So I was like, critics be damned. You know?
What is your ultimate dream role on Broadway?
Dream role on Broadway. That is really, really tough. But, I mean, who doesn't want to play Rose and Gypsy? I gotta say. You know, so that would, if I could pick anyone, it would probably be that one. But if I had to pick a male role, I would say, I've always wanted to be in Into the Woods, which is another Sondheim show, and either play Jack or the Baker.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is your favorite song from a musical?
That changes all the time because, you know, there's so much great music out there. And so every time, you know, somehow gravitate towards one or the other. But right now it's a song from a show called 5 Years will be an encore. The name of the song is Still Hurting. I've just learned it recently because we're doing it in this show. My friend Joanne is singing it, and it's so beautiful and heartbreaking, and she's going to do an amazing job, and I can't wait to see her on stage do it.
Aw, and I feel like somehow the Wicked movies, Defying Gravity, has to take a backseat right now. Yeah,
that is a good one, but yeah.
What scene from a musical always makes you cry?
What scene? Oh, easy. Les Miserables, the death of Eponine. It just, breaks my heart every time.
Which Broadway star would you want to share the stage with? I feel like now that I know you well enough, I know the answer.
There's. I mean, I would pick any number of the greats. Excuse me, but my number one would have to be Bernadette Peters. You know, also because I've had the chance to see her perform live, and I just love her voice. I love everything about her, and I think I would, I'd go to heaven a happy man.
She had me at Annie for sure.
Oh,
even
absolutely.
as a villain, isn't that interesting?
She can do anything, anything.
Which Broadway song could be your personal anthem?
My personal anthem? Well, actually, probably the one I'm singing in Encore, Skid Row, for various reasons. Come see it, listen to the lyrics, and, that's pretty much me.
Skid Row by the sea now.
Yeah, Skid Row by the sea.
Funniest onstage mishap you've ever witnessed or been a part of?
Well, funny for me was years ago I was stage managing a show in Toronto. I won't say the name of it or the company because I did not enjoy it. It was one of those jobs that you're happy to have a job, but you can't wait for it to end. Anyway, it was a very demanding cast, I'll just say that. During one of the scenes, they were, drinking wine, which was just apple juice, watered down apple juice. And one night, one of the actors came off stage and said to me, "The apple juice is off." So they had to do the whole scene drinking sour apple juice, which of course was not a good thing, but for me, because they'd made my life so very difficult, it was just a very funny moment. So, not that I encourage stage managers to do that to your actors, but it happens.
It happens from time to time. Live theater.
Exactly.
This is good advice for anyone at home, whatever you're going to say here. How do you get over stage fright or nerves? It's something I still get to this day, even here sometimes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, for example, I can remember back to being 17 years old and opening night of Little Shop of Horrors and Chris Pam Sis, and my first time ever being in a lead role or really having lines on stage and thinking I should be nervous. But I was more excited. But part of that was because I felt the rehearsal period was so good and I felt really prepared. I felt really supported by the cast and the crew. And it's just, once you get out on that stage and start, you just keep going. And so For me, it's not. I call it nervous excitement. There is those sort of butterflies, but it's not letting them overtake you, but just get out there and do what you've rehearsed and just trust that you know what you're doing.
What's your best advice to end this? What's your best advice for someone who's either wanting to return to the stage, Act 3 style, or someone who, even if they are in Act 3, the figurative Act 3 of life, maybe thinking about taking it up for the first time, or a younger person too?
I would recommend, if it's something you want to do, if it's something you've thought about and that you have inside you, just look for those opportunities to go out and audition and just push yourself to do it. Obviously prepare for your auditions. Go in and do something you feel confident about or that you like or that you love. But just get out that door the first time, because we have so many people in the cast of Act 3 for this show, for Encore. Like, the cast is 26 or 27 of us. And a lot of them, they just came out to try, didn't think anything would come out of it, were surprised that they were cast, and they're incredible. And so if it's something you want to do, just do it. And, if the first audition doesn't work out, try another one. Just keep trying. There's no shame in that. And, once you get that opportunity and you have the fun of just collaborating with a cast and being a part of something and rehearsing and working hard and getting to that point where, yes, it's opening night and the lights come up and away you go. I mean, there's really nothing like it. So if you want to do it, do it.
Well, I cannot wait to see you on opening night. But I really liked coming to rehearsal because it gave me such a full sense of the community that's been built around Act 3. And I think that's the part that actually drew me in, was to see, oh, this is how you spend a random weekday night. Yeah. And it's fun, and it's people my age just having a good time and exercising their creative muscles. So.
Yeah, I'm so happy that the four collaborators of Act 3, have done what they've done and got this company together and are doing what they do. Because they're also, they're not just, people I consider to be great artists and performers, they're great friends. And, it's become just a lifetime of, love and happiness. So
if you see me at the next audition, be warned.
I'll drag you there myself.
We are going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more Good Day from the Bay.
Welcome back to Good Day from the Bay. Before the break, we were dry, warm, and cozy, but that's all about to change.
Yes, because we are diving in, quite literally, into one of the coldest feel-good stories of the year, and I say that as someone who voluntarily plunged into the Bay of Fundy twice this year.
Voluntarily? We have video evidence that says otherwise.
Please let the record show I was not kidnapped by Kyle Mawer. I jumped into the freezing water with him on both Grand Manan and here in St. Andrews, and I stayed in for the entire 3 minutes, both times. It's basically a rite of passage if you want to consider yourself a true local of the Southwest now.
Speak for yourself. Kyle, on the other hand, was on a 100-day mission that kicked off at the start of 2025 to submerge himself in icy ocean water every single day, all to raise money for the local food bank.
Let's take a look at Kyle's journey, which started as a one-man mission and turned into a community-wide wave of generosity and goosebumps.
On Grand Manan, the saying, "It takes a village," isn't just a nice idea, it's a way of life. Cars lined the road to Stanley Beach on a sunny but near freezing day in late March as dozens of islanders gathered to cheer on Kyle Mawer, taking yet another plunge into the icy Bay of Fundy.
And he wasn't alone. Students, teachers, and even exchange students from Prince Rupert, BC braved the near freezing water alongside him, many staying in for the full 3 minutes. Kyle kicked off 2025 with a bold mission: jump into the ocean every day for 100 days to raise money for the island's food bank.
It's January 1st, like a lot of people, we start the new year off with a bang, and started with the cold plunge. And after a few days, I kind of had the idea that I'd like to turn it into a fundraiser. So I thought 100 days sounded like a crazy amount that would turn some heads and get some donations for the food bank. So here we are 87 days later, and we're going strong with a pretty sweet crowd here today. I think everybody's feeling the struggle these days. I mean, things are really expensive, and I know just looking after myself, I'm like, man, I don't know how some people are doing it.
Zoe Parker from Action Ministries, the group that runs the local food bank, says Kyle's challenge is more than just inspiring. It's life-changing.
Everything did increase in price. So in 2023 compared to 2024, we had a 25% increase in just clients. But with that, obviously costs went up, and with more clients, the cost went up as well. So with him doing this, it helps big time, and it creates awareness too, which is amazing. Donations have definitely increased because of him, and I feel like too, like even the kids at school are talking more about it, and they didn't realize, you know, even what the food bank did and how much it needed. So it definitely has made a huge impact.
What started as a $5,000 goal turned into something extraordinary. Word spread quickly beyond the island thanks to Kyle's daily videos. Communities across the region rallied behind him, jumping into their own local waters whenever Kyle took his plunges on the road, posting his next location on his social media pages.
That included a special plunge in St. Andrews, where locals joined Kyle at the Bar Road, one of several towns that took part in the movement.
After 100 days, Kyle raised over $40,000, support that goes directly towards helping Grand Manan families with food and travel for medical care off-island.
Now that his challenge is done, Kyle hopes the community spirit he helped spark will keep going strong, one small act of kindness at a time.
Because on Grand Manan and in towns across Charlotte County, neighbors are still looking out for neighbors. And thanks to one man's icy determination, even more people will get the help they need.
Well, that gave me chills, and not just because I watched it in the studio with the AC on full blast.
You know what's colder than watching it? It's doing it twice, and I think I'm still thawing out.
Well, your bravery is unmatched. Meanwhile, if the bath water dips below lukewarm, I file a complaint with HR.
Honestly, the only thing that was more shocking than the water was Kyle's energy after 100 days of doing it.
Give this man a heated blanket sponsorship.
Well, instead, we gave him the Good Day from the Bay questionnaire.
Yes, while Vicki was bracing herself for plunging into the bay, I had the chance to catch up with Kyle to have him take the Good Day from the Bay questionnaire. Let's take a listen. We just want to get to know you a little bit better, so we're going to take you through the Good Day from the Bay questionnaire.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm as ready as I can be.
Okay. Question 1. What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done? I would say outside of 100 days of cold plunges.
I'd say a couple years back I did a similar fundraiser, and I was training to rollerblade across Alberta, and so I trained as if I was rollerblading, but then ended up doing it on a bicycle due to an Achilles injury, but did it in full Mighty Ducks hockey gear, and went right from the Saskatchewan border all the way into BC, and living out of a camper with a friend, and we raised some money for a good cause that way, and it was all pedal powered as well, which is kind of makes it a little more worth it as opposed to other motorcycle trips and stuff I've done. You got to earn it a little more, especially getting into the mountains of BC, getting some of those hills, and it's probably one of them.
That's dedication. I got to admire that. Okay, question 2. If you could eat only one cuisine for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Probably got to go steak.
Nice.
Healthy, lots of protein, and I don't think you'd get as sick of it as pizza or lots of good foods, but if you had to keep it simple, just steak.
Nice. And how do you take your steak?
Medium rare, but also not a picky eater. Okay. If you put a steak in front of me, I'll eat it, but
that's nice. That's nice. Sure. Yeah, not pretentious. I like that. Yeah. Okay. Now, where would you say is your happy place?
Generally just out in the outdoors, whether it's the woods. I've lived in Alberta, so the mountains used to be my happy place, and now that I'm back on the East Coast and on the Grand Manan and being a fisherman, out on the ocean for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
Absolutely not. Okay. What would be your favorite local place to celebrate with family or friends?
Local place? Yeah. Oh, geez. We don't go out, usually just my parents' house is mostly where we get together, but I don't know. That's a tough one.
Well, that's a local place.
Around here, I love St. Andrews Brewing. I'm good friends with Ian Covey, the owner, and anytime I come to St. Andrews, I love to stop in there. It's a friendly little establishment, and it's been great for the community every time because, Charlotte County, we all move around.
That's true.
came from St. Stephen, but live on Grand Manan. Come to St. Andrews frequently, you know.
Oh yeah, and I have to agree, the brewery is a great place.
Oh, absolutely. You can't go wrong. They make great beer there. They're all great folks.
They sure are. They sure are. Okay, next question. What keeps you awake with worry? This is a bit of a switch, but.
I would say the same thing for a lot of people is finances. I mean, things are expensive these days, and you can spin yourself in circles sometimes if you think too much about, just how to get ahead in life, you know. But overall, I think you just gotta do what you can day by day and enjoy life because, money's one thing, but you just gotta be happy on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes you go with less and simplify your life and try not to get stressed about money thing, which is hard these days. Like everybody deals with it, right?
Exactly. We're all in the same boat there, for sure. For sure. Okay. Who in your life do you look up to the most?
Geez, I mean, probably my dad's been a pretty good role model for me. You know, he's raised 6 kids and got me into motorcycles and dirt biking and all kinds of the adventure stuff, and just did a lot of fun stuff growing up as kids. That was free stuff, you know, like pedal biking in the rain and just doing wild, crazy things that you didn't have to pay for. So I think that's a good way to live.
Absolutely. Good one. Okay. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, well, lately I heard a good one. It's the less you own, the less you're owned. So if you don't have payments and you don't have this, then the more free you are, and the more things you take on, the less free you are. So time is money, and if you don't need as much money, then you have more time.
That's very true. So, I can relate to that.
Yeah, I hear you. We've all learned that lesson at some point in time.
Have we ever?
Yeah.
Have we ever? Okay. What accomplishment are you most proud of?
Oh, geez. You know, I'm pretty proud of what we got going so far. This or the Cruising for Kelly, I think, is just, it's good when you can help other people. And then, I think the bike trip across Alberta, and now the way this is going, it's been pretty crazy, especially the last 2 weeks. It kind of went from like, okay, we probably won't get 10,000 to like, I think we just checked and it was 13,600 or something,
that's amazing.
Which is crazy because the food bank over there said their usage has gone up 25% and also their dollar doesn't go as far. Right. So you get less things for the same amount of money, and also you got way more people. Right. So feels good to be able to help out in some ways. Lots of people help out every day. Some people coach in minor hockey, and lots of ways to give to the community. And
absolutely,
I'm happy that I can just do my swimming and get other people involved in a good, healthy activity, and pretty stoked with it, and hoping to keep going with similar stuff like this in the future for sure.
Awesome. Okay, last question.
Yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure or current obsession?
Current obsession. I don't know. I guess this is my current obsession. It's kind of running my life really every day. I got to be focused on this, and pretty much just this and work. I don't really have anything. I guess I can be a sugar fiend sometimes. But lately this year I've been kind of getting that under control.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Cutting down.
Well, I'd say this is a pretty good obsession. I mean, obviously, the spirit is growing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for a great cause, and I'm sure the people of Grand Manan will certainly appreciate the final tally.
Absolutely, and for the fundraiser, and also just making people realize that, like, even though the ocean's cold, you can use it 12 months a year.
Absolutely.
And I feel like it'd be cool if, culturally wise, we could be more into cold plunging, and maybe we could get some public saunas going. And I think it's heading, it's healthy. It's the community can get out. It doesn't cost us any money. So I love where this is going for sure.
Kyle never ceases to amaze.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but stick around and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Day from the Bay.
A very special person from the St. Andrews community recently retired.
Anyone who knows Debby Lord knows her heart is as big as her socks are colorful.
We couldn't think of anyone better to tell this story than CHCO's own Lukas Kohler, who is a former attendee of the St. Andrews Youth Center.
I love you guys.
On Friday, the town of St. Andrews held a retirement party for Youth Center leader Debby Lord.
I'm a very lucky person to have that job, and I enjoy every minute of it. There was times when I was like, oh my dear God, but then, you know, it works out. Yeah, kids work out.
Debby has worked for the center for over 19 years, becoming a positive role model and friend for many kids in the community.
Many ways than one, she's become my grandmother, and I'm so thankful for that. Because even though I haven't known her as long as some of the other kids have, I love her to death, and I'm just so happy for her and everything that she's done.
She's really nice. She helped a lot of people and everything like that.
She was like one of the first people I met when I had moved here. She was always there. She's always a friendly face to see.
To fill her shoes and her signature mismatched socks, the town has hired a new leader, Amanda Harrington.
Well, I am a huge fan of recreation and sports, and I like helping the youth as well, dealing through any of their day-to-day teen crisis, so to speak, whether it's just, you know, wanting to play a game of hockey or needing a place to do their crafts. I just have a huge fondness memories of my own community center that I went to as a youth back in St. John. So, I just want to pass it along, I guess.
It's safe to say that the community loves Debby, and they look forward to Amanda taking the reins. Lukas Kohler, Newsbreak 26, St. Andrews.
Thank you, Lucas, and thank you for the memories, Debby.
Another local institution celebrating the end of another successful season is the Shiretown Community Soup Lunches.
CHCO's newest contributor, Christina Waschko, was at the final lunch of the season to capture the magic in action.
Shiretown Community Services was founded a number of years ago, and part of its mandate is to minister to seniors and to those who have less than ordinary opportunities in the community. So we're educating young adults who find it hard to find employment, who perhaps don't have the training or the experience to get jobs.
They come in the mornings and they prep everything, then they cook everything, they put it away, and then on Friday mornings they come back and they'll set up the hall, they reheat the soup, and get ready to serve. So depending on the adult, we teach them what they know, what they need to know.
When I came here, I did not know how to tie a garbage bag, as well as peeling potatoes. I didn't know how to use the fast grip for that.
This program started during COVID. It was a difficult challenge to get it up and going. We were isolated in the arena kitchen. Once COVID was over and we were allowed to come back here, the world opened up for them. They laughed, they enjoyed it. Here at the hall, they get to, people come and go, they get to associate with different people, they get to explain what they're doing with other people. That's probably the biggest thing that they've learned, is how to associate with the public.
Cream of mushroom and hamburger.
That was as heartwarming as a bowl of soup.
We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to Good Day from the Bay.
We often use the end of the show to celebrate milestones within the community.
That's right, Jonathan. And we are thrilled to share that our friends at the Community Living Center and Repeat Boutique in Eastern Charlotte marked Disability Awareness Week 2025 at the end of May with a barbecue and dance party at Repeat. The event was a celebration of inclusion and a reminder of the barriers people with disabilities still face.
Operated by the Community Living Center, Repeat Boutique is more than just a thrift store. It's a space where inclusion happens every day, offering meaningful employment to individuals with disabilities and funding inclusion programming through the sale of gently used items.
Staff gain valuable work experience in a supportive, community-focused environment, making Repeat Boutique a true model of inclusive employment.
It's no surprise that Repeat was recently honored with the Diversity and Inclusion Award at the Southwest Business Summit Gala Awards. Congratulations to all.
And last but not least, on May 28th, St. Andrews marked an extraordinary milestone for one of its residents, the 100th birthday of Herb McGee, a true Canadian hero. At just 18 years old, Herb enlisted in the Royal Canadian Air Force and served with remarkable courage as a tail gunner in Bomber Command during the Second World War, one of the most dangerous roles of the entire conflict.
His bravery was later honored by France, who knighted him for his service in the liberation of Europe. But Herb's commitment to a better world didn't end with the war. Even in his later years, he continues to speak out, urging leaders to learn from history and lead with wisdom and compassion.
To know Herb McGee is to know humility, strength, and hope. And on his 100th birthday, it was an honor to celebrate not just the years he's lived, but the lives he's touched. Thank you, Herb, for your service, for your voice, and for your example.
And thank you all at home for joining us today.
We'll see you next time on Good Day from the Bay.
Good Day from the Bay is produced through the facilities of CHCO Television with support from people in our region.